Well, March Madness has barely begun, and yet for the Arizona Wildcats, there's a lot of madness going on. Hey, everybody, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin. This video is sponsored by Old Pueblo Coin. If you have any coins, currency, gold, or silver items you're curious about what the value may be, come to Old Pueblo Coin at Speedway in Columbus, and the staff here will take very good care of you. As always, if you want to talk women's basketball with me when you show up, and if I'm here, please do. So it's the end of year one for Becky Burke at the University of Arizona. And the first thing that happens before anyone enters the transfer portal is you see three coaches depart, most notably Michelle Marciniak, who was deemed the CEO of the team. She unfortunately has to deal with an aging mom who has dementia, and so lots of thoughts and prayers for her and her family, as that is a tough situation to be in. And also we had two other assistant coaches leaving at this time, Ashley Odom, and we had the gal from Drury, right? Jenna Knudsen, both leaving the team. And this is something that coach turnover is something that we saw a lot of when Adia Barnes was here. We actually saw a lot of coaches coming and going. And coach has already hired a new assistant coach. So Todd Starkey, former Kent State head coach, is now one of the assistant coaches. He has been coaching for 25 years, and he has led Kent State to a 179 and 127 record over 10 seasons. So it seems like a pretty solid hire overall, someone with a lot of experience coming onto the coaching staff, to a staff that I think was already a very solid staff. Clearly, we saw a whole lot of good activity. I think as a whole, me and my friends that go to the games, we all considered the team to be a team that was well coached and played hard. Those were things that I think were obvious for everyone who attended. At the end of the day, when you saw games against, there were times when we played against teams like Baylor where we looked like the better team. I mean, if we could have made a bucket, we beat Baylor. We just had an off shooting night. In my opinion, we outplayed them. And for a team that's been undersized, well, let's talk a little bit about what's coming in. Of course, already halfway through the season, we had Callie Hinder come in, the freshman center, the 6'6", 6'5" center from Australia via Phoenix. And so she had a chance to work on her game already and work out with the team. And so she will be a freshman next year. Jasleen Green coming in as the Florida freshman, Florida Basketball Player of the Year. That's kind of a big deal. Pri Ponham coming in, and Michaela Presser-Palmer. We got a lot of P's coming in this year. Two forwards coming in, and an unnamed commit from overseas, which is a fascinating thing to me. Maybe they're still playing in some type of international tournament. I don't know. To be announced. Incoming portal additions to be announced. So, of course, Lonnie Cornfield, Mickey Purdue, and Nora Francois, all seniors, all leaving. What's interesting is the left before playing, right? We actually had two players that did not play that left early. That was Freddie Wallace, did not play, and Miracle Akpatayobo, which I probably said wrong. But both left without playing. And outgoing, now here we are, this is the, what week are we in March? Third week of March. Tournaments are going on just now. And it's interesting to see who is leaving and who is staying. So far, we already have three players that have entered the portal. I want to say our only athletic player. That's not fair to everyone else, but Tanyelle Welch, who is going to be a senior. Blessing Adebanjo, who was I think our only legitimate big. And then our other freshman big, Denia Trammell, who, she'll be a sophomore next year, who at times really showed her versatility. She was very aggressive with the basketball. And although she played like a freshman at times, her upside, I think, is tremendous at a 6'1", 6'2" kind of size. So three players are already in the portal. I think word on the street basically with the remaining players is that, Samaya Sukapong is going to stay because she's probably going to play. She was playing 40 minutes. I don't know if she was really our MVP, but she was, I think, clearly our most improved player throughout the season as she got a bunch of time. Montea Dew is a fascinating one because she had surgery. She did not play. I don't see her leaving, but is she going to have to play? Because there's a part of me that wonders if she wants to play after coming off of back-to-back knee injuries. So that is, maybe it's the situation where she stays on the team and just doesn't play much, even though she's got size, she's got talent. Achola Magat, who I think will probably stay on the team because she's going to be a senior. She's getting her education and she's at home. I don't think there's a reason for her to leave. MJ, I think MJ will probably stay because Coach loves MJ. She's just always talking about how great MJ is. So feels like that. And that just leaves Molly Ladwig and Cam Kitchen, right? And so for those two players, I wouldn't be surprised if either leave. I'm actually surprised that Cam Kitchen's not already in the portal. Maybe she's waiting to go somewhere. I'd be intrigued to see with the coaches that are leaving if either of the players are going with them. In other words, the two coaches that are leaving, there's a part of me that thinks that like Trammell may be going to follow one of those two assistant coaches somewhere else. We'll see what happens. This is the world we live in. I mean, it's a crazy world out there. But Cam Kitchen, it would be hard for me to imagine she stays around after not playing the last 4 or 5 games of the year. For all the nice things Coach says about her, she doesn't play her very much. Fascinating season. Same thing with Molly Ladwig. Molly would start a game and play half the game or most of the game, and then the next game not play at all. This is something that Coach does. And so we will see what we're left with. So I think we're going to have basically Sugapong will be a senior, but then if Ladwig, Kitchen, and MJ stay, they're all going to be sophomores. And then we'll have freshmen. And then we're going to have whoever else is going to be able to come in on a transfer portal. I'm guessing the coaching staff will be looking for fifth-year seniors, grad students, to come in and kind of spice things up a little bit for this team. I do not think that we're going to be in a position where we can run a bunch of freshmen out and win basketball games. I just don't think that's a thing. And I realize that the transfer portal is a real deal. Everyone's dealing with it, but also it's just going to be hard if you can recruit, but you can't keep kids around. You know, we can extend a bunch of grace. This is obviously going from year 1 to year 2 for Coach. And the farther we get into this transfer portal nonsense, the more teams that are dealing with 3 or 4 transfers every single year. But also, you know, if you get in the habit of not taking players with you and giving players inconsistent playing time, it's not going to be a culture where kids are going to want to stay and play, in my opinion. Some of this is opinion, obviously, or maybe all of it's opinion, but there's some facts in front of us, and then there's just a guess, right? And each of these kids is different. You know, maybe one of the kids, the parents say, listen, you committed, we want you to stay there. You never know. I mean, some parents might be kind of old school, and then for others, it might just be like, yeah, you didn't play my kid, we're leaving. You know, it could be a totally opposite situation, which is not necessarily a good situation. So we will see what happens. I predict that the team next year will be overall as good as this year, maybe a little bit improved. And, you know, the incoming talent definitely should be at a higher level than our incoming talent was this year, at least at a minimum size-wise. I'd expect that Jasleen Green, if she can keep Coach happy, will probably be playing quite a bit after being we're going to need the guard help. I would hope that Molly Ladwig and Cam can hang out, but you know, if Cam's not going to get playing time, I can't imagine she's going to be staying around. In Molly, she got playing time off and on, but it's really hard to say. It's really hard to say what'll happen as far as these last couple of kids, but you really only have of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids. You know, I think maybe 2 of them could still leave. And then you'd have 5 returning players, 2 of which may not even play much. I mean, Achola might play a little bit more. I would hope, this has been one of my hopes, and the fans' hopes. By the way, I go to the games, I talk to fans besides myself, and using Achola more, even if she is not as fleet of foot as some of the other kids, I still think, you know, she's a kid that shot the highest percentage. If we can learn to get entry passes to her, get her in a position to score, maybe she doesn't knock as many kids down and get, you know, charging fouls called against her. There's that too. You know, it's not all on the coaches. But anyways, we'll see what happens as more information comes out this summer. We'll talk a little bit more, make a couple more videos about U of A women's basketball. I renewed my tickets. I'm here to support the kids. And we will see what happens this next year. We will be cheering hard as the carousel turns. the coaching carousel and the player carousel turns. We'll see who gets off and who gets on. But us fans, we can stay consistent, and we can make the university better just by being there. We can make the environment better and the players better just by being there. So, listen, let's be the best six man. That's my pep talk. I'm speaking mostly to myself. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you next time. And here's the quick addendum, because practically minutes after I recorded that, Achol Magat says adios. Going to greener pastures. We'll keep making videos throughout the summer talking about the spring and the summer. It's already hot here, right? So summertime. Talking about where the players are headed to. Follow up on them a little bit. And we can talk a little bit actually about someone here, again, that was at U of A, because what are we going to do besides talk about former players? Achol Magat, I was a little surprised by the leaving, just because I thought, Tucson. But also, she's going to play somewhere. Like, she can easily go to a smaller school and get 30 minutes a game or 20 minutes a game and get double-doubles galore. And I think she will. And she'll be an asset for them, too. And not even actually yet listed as of this recording on some of the websites, but who just announced through social media, Cam Kitchen heading out, going somewhere, saying thank you to Tucson for the support. We're here to support the kids, whatever happens. Godspeed, Madison Connor 2.0. I already miss you. Really going to be sad. Cam Kitchen, not surprising at all, didn't play like the last 4 games of the year, and heading out. So that leaves us with Molly Ladwig, Samaya Sagapong, MJ Gerardo, Montea Du, and Callie Hinder, who's the freshman who's already in here ahead of time. And I think that might be it. I think those 5 might be staying. I still have questions about whether or not Molly will stay. And I think that the real question mark still, like I said before, is what's going to happen with Du? Is she going to play? Is she not going to play? And then we'll talk more this summer about off-season movements and players and freshmen. But one thing to keep track of here, I said we would talk about players. Skylar Jones officially off the team with Louisville as the team's going to the tournament. It sounds like it's coach's decision. So Skylar Jones, who we saw was a very emotional player here, long, lengthy, athletic, reminds me in some ways of possibly this year's, if you look at like a Welch kind of player, a little bit more of a slasher, left-handed, and very athletic player. But apparently there's, sometimes you can look back and say, well, maybe it wasn't the coach's fault, right? That's something we can look at. So we are in the season of players moving around, and we will see. All I can tell you is that next year's team will look nothing like this year's team, and I expect it'll be a pretty talented team overall, and hopefully we will win a handful more games, and we will see. All right, guys, bear down. We'll catch you next time.